We're back. It's been a week since the last Front Runner Football podcast. The name is Gamzambata, and as we do on a weekly basis, we reflect on what's been happening in South African football. For the longest time, that was updates upon update as to when football will resume. But now that it has, the games are coming at us thick and fast. I think it's been about 14 games that have happened since the last show was recorded. So with that said, there's plenty to tuck into, and I'm joined here today by two former players. We're switching things up. Our journo is getting a bit of a break as I welcome Shwabe Walters, who we've had on the podcast before, then a debut for Mr. Sosibo Calvin, who joins us on the line. Gentlemen, good afternoon, and thank you so much. Welcome to the Front Runner Football podcast.
Good afternoon to you.
Thank you.
How's it, Sosi?
Old friendships being reignited here. Gents, let's start with Orlando Pirates, because I guess, much was said of them prior to the break. They were a side that probably out of all of them hated the fact that we had to stop playing football, because obviously they were on a good hit. And so with that being considered, let's talk about how they've done in the bubble, because Shwabe, it's not been the greatest time for them, losing to Cape Town City, and of course drawing 1-1 with Baroka. They've just not been able to find their groove. And speaking of that game against Cape Town City, a lot of people are shocked to find out that goal came when they were 10 men down, Cape Town City, and still Orlando Pirates weren't able to find a way back. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, look, to start off, Kamza, for me is they've created a lot. Orlando Pirates have created a lot. If we talk about the game of Cape Town City and Orlando Pirates, look, I give nothing. We give all the credit to Cape Town City. They defended phenomenally. You could see they were defending for their lives. As soon as they lost the ball in the final third of Orlando Pirates, they were rushing back. They were sprinting. Something I want to see from Cape Town City consistently, because again, if you the Stellenbosch game, Cape Town City, then they were more nonchalant. So a little bit of consistency in that fact. When it comes to the Orlando Pirates, look, I believe they created enough chances. I just again think that the attack, there's no harmony amongst them, because they've got different ideas. I mean, you look at somebody like Lodge, tight angle, he's got better options at passing the ball, then he goes and shoot. Pule trying to score goals from 40 yards out. At times they were doing well, where they knew they had to stretch Cape Town City and then get in crosses, which it was effective. But then you still see them trying playing through the middle. I do think the camp is a little bit low in confidence. I don't think they should be low in confidence too much when it comes to defending, because they defend quite well and they defend quite compact. Yeah. But for me is the final third, and I just think there's too many players that are maybe off form or not prepared enough for the bio bubble. But for me, yes, the final third I think is the biggest problem at the moment.
Right. I mean, Calvin, to that point, we speak about them having a resolute defense, but surely it starts creeping into that defense as well, in terms of, that low on confidence when the guys up front aren't, making the most of the work you're doing at the back. For harmony to exist, you want your defenders to defend, but you also want your attackers, when they do attack, to score.
For sure. I would agree with most of the points that Shoaib actually alluded to. They make perfect sense. I think most of the guys actually are foreign to the system of the bio bubble, which is taking a toll on each and every player, and it's making players uncomfortable. Yes, understandably so. Even the goals that were scored as well, I think some of their defense line could have actually done a much better job. Because if you see the goal, how it was scored from a cross, which the back line was caught napping. Kemi, the shortest player on the field, actually managed to get a header in. Right. So I think within that said, also with the effect of Lodge, we have to look at it in a sense in terms of he's coming from a disciplinary hearing.
Yeah.
And then for him, there's a lot that is expected out of him. But again, we have to actually be in a position to understand this is a team, and we shouldn't be relying on one player to give us the positives or actually be the outstanding players. All players need to contribute. This is a big team. I think it's all on each player now to pull their weight and try to get the team into a better shape.
Eddie, to that point, welcome. About Loch, I mean, him and Shonga get the disciplinaries out the way. Are they in the right state of mind to come into a camp for Orlando Pirates and do the job? Or do you feel that maybe their presence is kind of, I don't know, not helped in a sense, because now we're looking at the situation that the team is in. You're bringing another factor. No one doubts their talent, but the fact that they've come from a DC within the club, they've not been with the squad initially for that harmony. Has it helped or hindered to have them, or do you always appreciate the fact that talent like that gotta have in the mix just in case?
Listen, I think for a team to perform, I think it all goes to the team, to everybody to put on their weight and to play and then win games. I mean, as for Lodge, I think, to be honest with you, Kamo, I think the name is back in the team, but the actual Lodge himself is not back in the team because whether he was not there, whether he's there, for me, it's still the same thing. So we still need to see the Lodge that everybody always talks about, so that the Pirates, he drives the team, he drives everybody else to go out there and then make a difference. But as for me, when I watch the game, it's just the name that was there. That's it. But the Lodge himself was nowhere to be found.
I mean, that's true. And it might take some time, Shoaib, for him to get back to his best. But, in the bubble, with the games coming thick and fast, there isn't much time, is there?
Yeah, you see, for me, it's just to touch on what Eddie was saying and I believe him. And the thing is, for me, is Lodge at the moment is an experienced player in the Pirates, and he needs to know that his role for leading is not only by leading the team, but he also has to lead by his football. Yeah. So already now he's had a disciplinary hearing, so which means that type of leadership is now out. So now coming back and trying to lead on the field, I think it's a little bit hard, and that is why, because for me, when you are disciplined and is disciplined, it's over. So now it's now for you to earn your bread and butter by performing well. But I think the responsibility, also what you must remember is, if you look at in the media also, everybody is on, even the coach was saying at one stage, you know what, I don't know how we can get the ball into the net. So he's putting pressure, the media is putting pressure on the attackers. Now Lodge, already as an experienced player, is feeling, I need to take that responsibility by leading my team and by leading the front line. It could be, a little bit overwhelming for him. And you still have the disciplinary hearing. But yes, like Eddie's saying, Lodge is an important factor, and he needs to try and block those things out and become professional, where on the field is on the field business.
Right.
Yeah. I think also, come on, listen, we all have played football. And the fact that you're coming from a disciplinary hearing, okay, it happened, and then you need to leave that. Right. You are employed to go and play soccer. Right. So go out there, do what everybody knows you to do, and then that's it. Because you know that your team is struggling, and you might have something that everybody will be looking at you and say, listen, let's go for it. So do that, and then leave everything else behind. You are in the football, you are on the field, go and play football.
Kelvin, I mean, Jan Older Rickering coming into the Cape Town City job, it was tough before the break, but now they are suddenly the most informed side in the bubble. They've lost one, they've won the others, and won against good sides. So they're finally firing, and it's good to see that a team that had so much promise might be able to restore that come next season. I think this one is obviously about just consolidating and finishing in the top 8. But what are you seeing in this Cape Town City side that you didn't see before the break?
A wonderful Cape Town City. I must admit, they're playing quite decent football. But again, I think credit needs to date back to Benny. He's laid a good foundation, even though he was not getting the good results. But again, we need to also credit the coach as well for being able to mold the team now and get them to actually to play the type of football that he wants. As we know very well, the Dutch philosophy is always to play tactical football, more of a ball-orientated team. So they're moving into the right areas. As you can see, they depend in terms of the more wider spaces that they use. This is how they catch a lot of teams. And I think with coach identifying players that are suitable for positions and being to maneuver them around, which shows the tactical prowess in terms of him and understanding in terms who to place where for him to get results. So yeah, for them to consolidate in the top 8, I think they're well within their rights to finish fairly well. It's exciting football for them, even though the momentum is dying down a little bit because now matches are coming thick and fast and players are getting fatigued and then we're avoiding injuries as well.
Yeah, but I guess to that point, Shwaib, it is about a smash and grab kind of approach in the bubble before the injuries, before the fatigue, all those things start catching up. It's about just trying to get as many points on the board as possible because it is looking like the kind of bubble where every team is well capable of dropping points. We've seen it happen, but, obviously maybe, it's going to happen a bit more, but under these conditions, get on the board as quickly as you can, as you see some coaches who like to plan for points will point out.
Yeah, you see, that is why, you know what, I think Coach Chief Barker just hit the nail on the head. He said the game between Stellenbosch and Kaizer Chiefs, he said it wasn't a very good tactical game, but there was a lot of long balls. But he said the energy, so that is what's going to win you games. And I mentioned it in last week also. It's going to be a lot of fight, but who's going to win it is the ones obviously making the least mistakes. And I think to manage your games well, most teams, and I know Middendorp was talking about, everybody's having this brick wall, but I think you can conserve more energy. And that is why teams are going that route where they're sitting a little bit deeper and hitting teams on transition because you can conserve a lot more energy that way.
Sure.
So, which means you can maintain obviously a full 90 and you don't have to be up and down. So if you're going to go toe to toe or punch for punch, within 25, 30 minutes, it's also about maintaining the players themselves. So I think it's easier for teams now to sit a little bit deeper, consolidate, keep compact shape, so you don't exert a lot of energy. And when you do get the opportunity, you turn transition, which also helps with your players, which means then they can last longer. We all know they haven't played in 5 months. So fitness coaches as well are going to come in and say we need to try and manage games, and you always hear this in most of the games now, even the European games. It's all about how they manage the games, and I think that's going to be most important for the teams going forward.
And I guess, if you're looking at that game, now that we're speaking about Chiefs and Stellenbosch, Eddie, maybe we must just tuck into it, looking at the likes of Lele Tuskelm getting on the score sheet for Stellies. But then, obviously, the big news from that game, as much as Chiefs maybe dropped 2 points, was that finally Lazarus Kambole has, got a goal in the black and gold of Kaizer Chiefs. And considering the fact that Nukovic is going to serve a suspension now, you need other bit part players to kind of step to the fore. And what a time for him to come.
Yeah, I think he did very well, considering that he hasn't scored any goals for Kaizer Chiefs. The sad part is that, as a foreigner, when you're brought in for a big club like Kaizer Chiefs, you need to deliver. And then if you don't, it's like they wasted their money and time and energy to go to Zambia to bring someone who is not even what things scoring. So I just hope that it's the beginning. And I hope it's not too late for him, because you can't start scoring goals when it's towards the end of the season. I just hope that from now, when he gets a chance, you will just bring them in, and so that you would repay from the management that he is one also that they can be reliable. Because I can imagine, for Kambule, that they have Nukovic, and then he is not available. I mean, as a player now, thinking that, okay, this is the guy that I'm competing with. Now he's not available. Yeah. So let me just do my best. Let me go score goals again. So that comes the next game, even if Nukovic is back, then the coach will have a headache of who to start with. But if it stays like that, then it's going to be a problem.
No, for sure. He has bought himself a bit of time by, getting on the score sheet. But interestingly enough, Kelvin, the player that he replaced, as far as the substitution was concerned, was one Kamabiliat, who I think it's fair to say his time at Kaizer Chiefs has been slightly underwhelming. If we're being honest, the player is capable of a lot more than he's shown. But let's talk about his contribution, because he's one of the biggest earners. He's one of the most talented footballers in the country, but you just don't get a sense that he's got an input or has put a stamp on this Kaizer Chiefs side. What's gone wrong?
I think what's going wrong in there, you can tell from players that players are down. It might be a technical issue within the team.
So what?
Players,
Not being asked to play his kind of game, but being asked to play a different kind of game.
correct. That's where I'm going. Yes, I think that's where I'm going, Kamu. And looking at the players as well, you can see they are down from their tactics, the way they are applying themselves. There's something bigger than that there's something bigger that we don't know that is happening. And it's showing on each and every player. You can see they want to fight, but now the eagerness of it, them putting into the going to the next gear, being the Chiefs that we know. Because we know that the Chiefs that plays enterprising football, Billiard will always rise to the occasion.
Right.
As we have seen in so many times. He's been the great player to lead the front pack. But now his energy is dying down and down and down. He doesn't seem to be putting in effort, tracking back. It's like even if he plays, he just feels like I must just play and then just finish the game.
Mm-hmm. And I mean that's an interesting point, Shrey, because there's a lot that's being said around Ernst's future. If he delivers this ABSA Premiership title, you still feel that like flashpoints such as Itumeleng Kune's position and not being able to get the most out of a Kama Billiard might be the things that count against him when they look to continue with him. Or do you think that these players need to look at themselves because the coach has brought a team together that can play and these guys haven't contributed? Who's at fault here? Because obviously the fans are going to want to see the likes of Kune, the likes of Billiard playing at 100% capacity. But the question is this the coach to get that to happen?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, comes out to be honest. I think Middendorp has always been the coach that wants to be the most hated in South Africa. So
you think it's by design?
Yeah, I think it's just like he does all these things on purpose. Like now, knowing that Kuhn is not going to be available for the rest of the season. Look, I think it's not about that, because I think immaterial. Even if, for example, I'm sitting with for example, I'm Kuhn and I have Katsandi on my side, and I have, for example, Bernard Parker on my side, and I have a nice senior core, and I can infiltrate a few more to not do well. I don't think you can put anything on a league title. So even if you were to come to me and for example, I'm Foss, I'm Jürgen Sassman, and Pune says, I need you to drop your performance, for example. I need you to drop your performance today because we kind of want to show the coach that he's wrong by not playing us.
Hey, but no. Are you telling me conversations like this happen, Shoaib?
No, look here. We've all played football. Definitely, it will. You are both poor. You are both. Look here. I'm not playing. You're not playing. The seniors are not playing now. So now we're gonna form a partnership. I don't think that is happening. To be honest, I don't think.
Because
I think
the taste of glory is so close that the
exactly.
Say,
I mean,
you
want to throw.
Yeah.
Exactly. You want to throw all of that away because you're not playing now. You want to get the coach fired. I don't think that's gonna happen. For me, is first of all, the coach is planning it wrong. I think. Tactically, I mean, you're playing Stellenbosch. You've got 16 shots, 9 on target. Stellenbosch has got 8. You have and 3 on target, and they score 1 and you score 1. You're not scoring goals. That's the first thing. Second of all is you're playing long ball. You're playing a lot of crosses where Stellenbosch is compact. So for me, he got tactics wrong, and I think he maybe at times got player personnel wrong. So he needs to take responsibility. And what I'm not liking these excuses. Super Sport and ETV News knows about Nukovic has 3 yellow cards, 1 more, and then he's going to say, no, they don't play him. Leave him out. Yes. Exactly. If you need him for Sundowns, leave him out. I don't like excuses. I think he's got it tactically wrong. I think he knows himself he's got it tactically wrong. And I think preparation to this bio bubble might have been the wrong preparation, because even in Europe, they prepared wrong where they can see fatigue kicking in. They want to do things, but they can't. So I think that is maybe where it's gone wrong. Yeah.
What do you make of him using a ball player in Nchangasi in a game like the Stellenbosch game? Because he says that, you know what, as much as this guy hasn't played, I needed someone like him for a team like Stelli's, talking to the tactics.
This to
I
Calvin.
think
No, it's to you.
Oh.
You're talking about the tactics.
Yeah.
He didn't line up properly. So what do you make of him including Njangasi? And I'll get the thoughts of the other two gentlemen.
Yeah, you know, for me, is look, Shangasi, I have full faith that he's going to come to the fold. He's going to do well in the future. At the moment, for me, is I'm thinking, if that's why I'm saying, if you know that there's a problem with, there's a circle of guys that are building something, I would play them now. Because for me, example is, I need my leaders on the field to take me through over this line.
Right.
So that is why I'm saying I think he's got it a little bit tactically wrong with his personnel. For games like these, for Shangasi that hasn't played a lot, you need now to, you know, go with the reliable ones. Yes, understandable that at times you want certain type of football played and these senior players can't give it to you. But now it's about getting over the line. And it's not so much about tactical. And because I know Middendorp, when I played with him, a lot is always about tactical, but now it's about you need fight, you need hunger, and you need the desire. And having those leaders on the field, I think will carry the rest of the team to just winning games. And they've done it in the past where they haven't played pretty football, but they've got over the finishing line by just having that experience and the hunger. And that's what wins you games, especially now.
Experience and hunger are the two key words, gents. I mean, Calvin, when you hear that and you think about Njangasi in terms of the season, does he have the experience? He's not played enough football in this title charging side? And then, you know, obviously Ernst will be like, guys, I gave you your ball playing players. What do you want from me? You know, sometimes I'm told I play boring football. Sometimes I'm playing route one, too many set pieces. Now I bring in a ball player and I'm still not going to get you guys on side. What do you make of that?
I think Jangas on this game just became a spectator. I didn't see him at all. Passes going sideways, not being a penetrative player that we know he's been. And again, you look at the fact that he's more of a ball player, but I think he's lacking in terms of confidence because a number of games that he has not been playing. So I think also as well in him just being thrown into this deep end where there's so much pressure, I think for him it showed some crack. And I think now this is not the time for him to have started the game, because I think the coach just threw him in just because of pressure that he's been getting from supporters and maybe from the management. But building on from that, I think it wasn't actually the greatest move to play, because that had actually crashed the player.
Oh man, that's a good point that you bring up, because now if we look at the planning that he has to do, Eddie, there's no Nukovic. We don't know about Castro because he came off injured. But you know, it's not looking good as far as the next game up front. If you're Ernst Middendorp, what do you do? Who do you bring in? How do you try and make sure that you don't lose any further ground in a bubble that sees points going to all sorts of teams, and especially when you need to finish this strong and make sure that you get that league title?
Truth be told, Cam, looking at Kaizer Chiefs, I think everything is just wrong about them. You know, if you look at how they playing absolutely nonsense. There's, you know, when you watch the game when they played against Celtic, when you watch the game that when they played against Celtic, a team like Kaizer Chiefs couldn't combine 5 passes. What does it tell you?
They're nervous, Eddie. Bubble is tough. The mental fortitude you need in the bubble clearly is more than what you need outside.
Come on, then here it is. Come. How come a team like Cape Town City are able to do exactly what Kaizer Chiefs can do? So what is the difference?
An expectation. Maybe I'll play devil's advocate. Maybe there's less of an expectation. No one expected Cape Town City to come in here. You're Kaizer Chiefs. You're coming into this bubble at the top. You are the hunted. The most pressure's on you not to let it slip. Surely that has to count for something.
A big team like Kaizer Chiefs, one hand is on the trophy, and then one hand you're about to hold it, to hold on to it, and then now you are scared for a big team like Kaizer Chiefs. No, come on, I don't think. Listen, we should not give an excuse about Kaizer Chiefs. They played nonsense. And then now, when you get to have the other players that are not even performing, and then you expect others. Okay, I'll give you an example. You want Changazi to come in and then be the person that is going to rescue the whole team. Right. Then it's not going to happen like that. It's not going to happen like that. Kaizer Chiefs, every game that they are playing, they're always conceding first. They want to come back second half and then try always chase the game. But now,
but what happened with Celtics then when they scored first?
Yeah, exactly. So maybe it's better
That
for
was
them to go first.
Yeah, okay, that's what I say, that some of the games, that was one game that they scored first. But look at what happened. 2 passes, 2, 3 passes, route one, everything was just being pumped forward. Celtic, they had a game plan, they played, and then they were on top of them. But as I was saying, they always, like now, some of the games, they always concede first, then they want to chase the game. And then, look at what happened against Cape Town City. Listen, this is what happened, and Cape Town City thing scored. I mean, I'm talking about Stellenbosch.
Okay.
Yes. Scored, and then now they have to chase the game. So second half, they always come back. They want to chase the game. So of which, for a team that wants to win the league, if you play like that, you're actually giving it to somebody else to say, listen, we cannot do that. Here is it. Grab it. So I think Kaizer Chiefs, now with the players that they have without Nukovic, as we say, maybe Castro might not even be there. Let's see exactly what's going to happen. But I'm not happy with Kaizer Chiefs the way that they're performing.
I think if I can just come in from there, Eddie, I think again this is also now we're just going to have to look at in terms of how the coach's approach is going to be, because you have Kambole who just scored now, who's fresh in confidence, and then he would be looking to prove his point. But then again, I understand that there's so much pressure now on players because they are dropping points, Sundowns is dropping points. So the gap is getting narrow and narrow, and which now brings all players, they need to really, really, really understand, because I myself, I've experienced that with Kaizer Chiefs 2004. Everything that came in us, every game that will actually listen to, will want to always go out there and win and win and win. And as Shoaib has alluded, it's one of the most precious moments that you cherish for your life, because some players played up until they finished football and have never won the league. I'm lucky. I've been part of the team that was one of the great Ted Dumitra's era. I've played there, won the league, and I think for them, no player would want to actually to let this slip away. I think now what needs to happen is they need to draw back, reorganize themselves, do it for themselves now, even though when they know the coach is doing it wrong. But let them step up now and say, guys, listen, there's a bigger, there's something big at stake here. We cannot no longer rely to the coach now, because if the coach is getting wrong, what can we then do as players to actually to lift the morale and work for the badge and
Oh, that's true. Good points. Thank you, Kelvin. I mean, if we look at this now, it only puts into a more stark contrast, Schwabe, how underachieving they've been in Mamelodi Sundowns. I mean, we're speaking about Kaizer Chiefs, but I'm thinking now is that all these slip-ups, but still the team that is expected to make the most of them hasn't done so. So we're going to be, as we're going to critique Ernst and his approach. What do you make of Pitso Mosemani's approach to the resumption of league football and how Sundowns have fared so far?
Yes, no, for me also, I think Sundowns' preparation also, I think has not been well towards the bubble. But before we go there, I just want to say, and Sosi was actually a 30-year-old senior player with Ted Dimitri in 2004. He was a senior player there, 32-year-old senior player when they won that league.
Never. I was 19, Baba.
Years ago.
Don't add tax there, Shoaib. Please stop adding tax and VAT.
That's VAT plus and then some. VAT and then some.
Yeah, okay. And look, for me, back on Mamelodi Sundowns, I think also a lot of teams have realized that Sundowns are quite slow at the back. So you're gonna hit them with pace. You're gonna put them in danger. Also, Dennis Iyango for me he's looked a bit off since the bio bubble. Conceded some goals that he wouldn't normally concede. Okay. Everybody's on Madisha's case. Is that maybe giving the goalkeeper a little bit less confidence? I don't know. Look here, for me, Madisha is a wonderful defender, brilliant defender. I think obviously Arendse also, Wayne Arendse was caught against Cape Town City. Then also their main and most important thing is their attack. There's no fluency. Tembazwan is off form. Serino's look like he's going through the motions. Lilaka is looking the only one like he really wants to play. He really wants to challenge for the league. So I
Because it's
think
from Cape
Sundowns
Town.
also. Yeah, no, definitely. I have to promote my Cape Town boys. But remember, Wayne Orange is also from Cape Town, and
I see where you're going.
so yeah, so for me is I think Sundowns and Chiefs are in similar positions, and that should tell you because for example, Sundowns is a team that wants to win all the time, yet they also looking like they're just going through the motions. They're looking the same like Chiefs. I would go to say that Sundowns is similar to Man City, where good players, but I think they need an overhaul now. For next season, I think they're going to have to change. They're going to have to change personnel in quite a few and actually make way for a few. Bring in few more and actually get rid of a few. So in that sense is also, like I'm saying, I think the preparation into the bio bubble was maybe mismanaged to a certain degree.
Okay, I mean,
I think Shoaib, I think the difference between Kaizer Chiefs and Sundowns, I mean, you're absolutely right. But when it comes to the difference between Kaizer Chiefs and then Sundowns at least you can see what they are trying to do. Listen, you've got their combination play, you get the wing back, their overlap, they're bringing in crosses. But with Kaizer Chiefs, you don't know exactly what is happening. You'll be staring at the TV and like, okay, it goes this side, now it's going this side. You're going this side. It's like tennis. But we know with Sundowns, yes, as you say, they are slow at the back, and Onyango is not at his best. But you can see how they are trying to build from the back, through the middle, going to the final third, trying to take shots, things like that. It's happening when you're watching Sundowns. But
yes,
I cannot say the same thing. Yes, I cannot say the same thing when you're watching Kaizer Chiefs. But I hope when they meet, you're probably going to see something different. I'm just hoping so. Yeah,
no, for sure. I mean, they have to do without Nascimento. Calvin, how do you think that's going to affect them? He's good with the penalties. He's solid at the back. He's probably not the quickest, but with him and Madisha, you are confident now that he's out the picture and it's just Madisha and whoever might come in and deputize. Are you still as confident that they can, stem the leakage at the back of goals, or is this an open invitation for Kaizer Chiefs, knowing this, to kind of go in on the attack? We don't know with who, but to go for the jugular.
Yeah. I think they got it under control. I would like to add on that and have some confidence on Sundowns. I think they prepared well. I think it goes for each and every team now that's actually in the bubble. The bubble has played a tremendous role in these finishing stages. And I think with Sundowns, their preparation, I don't doubt them, because if you look at it, they've already played more games than anyone else. And which is now you start to see their matches creeping in, their match fitness creeping in. But now again, we're going back now whereby some other teams are starting to actually to show up now. And Sundowns is slowly now fading away, where they're having red cards, players also dropping their performances now, making so many changes. Now you have to look at the bulk of the squad. Bulk of the squad is mostly your 30-year-old, 35-year-old that are actually the core center of the team. So I think maybe an introduction of youngsters as well will actually play a good role in them actually getting the energies up front. And the conversion of players as well that I've seen so far with Maboye taking on as a right back. Also that I think it has taken a damp, because the boy, I'm not quite confident in his defending ability, but I trust him when it comes to forward movements.
Right. Shoaib, is it time for a rebuild though? I mean, do they have the luxury of rebuilding with such a high pressure, badge on your chest as a Sundowns player? You're kind of expected to go out there and do the business. But when does the coach or when does the club start kind of managing those expectations that, listen, guys, we're going to have to bring in new blood and it might take a while before everyone's firing on all cylinders?
Look, for me is I'm not saying bringing in, because they've already earmarked who they want to sign for next season.
Sure,
so
they've
got Hashim Domingo.
Yes.
So they've signed. I'm not saying about signing, but what I'm saying is Musa, like for Lebusa came there to Sundowns. He wanted to play centre back. He told Pitso, I want to be a centre back.
Right.
So why not we try Lebusa and Matisha?
Well, that might actually be
and
the case. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, that might actually be the case coming in now. You know, you still have Langerman, you have Lailakai that can cover in at left back. You know, so Kulompo Kakana, we always know that he is. Everybody's asking, you know, is he irreplaceable?
He's the first name.
He's not to first name, but the reason why is because he's the glue of Sundowns and the first 11. So yes, we have your Andile Jali that can play in his position. But for me he's the glue. So for me he's irreplaceable. But when I'm saying you know, Nascimento, Madisha also, I know that you as a coach, when a player doesn't have the best of games, you want to play him again.
Right.
But then you should know, okay, now, and the rotation as well. For me is, you know, Timber's one is also a little bit off, but there's certain players that I see that he has too much faith in. And I think that is maybe where the stubbornness is a little bit. So, like, we all know they're a brilliant team going forward. They're a brilliant team, free-flowing football. There's fluidity a little bit here and there. But now we need that Sundowns that we have all the other years. They are flying the last 5 games of the season.
But
where they are
does that
clinching.
not come from playing regular football though, Schwabe, which we haven't? So to have that same expectation is a bit, you know, because we always argue that them playing on the continent and playing their league games, there's a lot of football, but it does help you become a well-oiled machine, which didn't happen. You know, they came into here with no non-contact training, non-contact friendlies, and they expected to find that edge again without the games to give it to them. Is that a real expectation though?
But so has Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch has got 7 points out of 9. You know, so has all the other teams.
No, for sure.
So now that's why for me is now it's the time that they have to show their true colors, because you can't tell me that you only want to play 40 games in a season to be the best last 5 games team. No. You must show me that at the first game of this, after 5 months, you are the best team and you have the quality to do that. And like you're saying about the new season, I do think that the new season they need to have a little bit more, maybe less consistency and a little bit more make use of what you have available, because you're constantly seeing the same, and for this bubble time, it's going to be difficult on the legs of the more experienced players.
Of course. I mean, it's a very critical doubleheader that they have here, Eddie, because it's today against Golden Arrows. Then the next game is the one against Kaizer Chiefs. So essentially, they have to somehow find a 2-win bounce. I say somehow, and it sounds, you know, far-fetched for Mamelodi Sundowns, but it's not, obviously, knowing their qualities. Just what we've seen of them, you hope that it kind of clicks into place, because if they win against Arrows, that's 3 points, puts them 3 within of Kaizer Chiefs, and then if they win that one, they're tied. So the next 2 games are essentially make or break for Peter Mosamani.
Very, very, very vital games, especially with Golden Arrows. You know, playing against their former coach, Steve. And, you know, Steve like to use players that are full of energy, that can run, that, you know, once they get to the final third, you will see a different Golden Arrows. And I think, as Schwabe said, that Sundowns, with their slow defense, I think today it's gonna come out, for Golden Arrows to run at them, and we know that that's exactly what Steve wants. Steve wants, especially the guys that are playing on the outside, to run at them and then bring in crosses for Knox Mtizwa, and then it can just finish it off. I mean, when you talk about Kaizer Chiefs, I think it's a game that Sundowns would not going to worry too much about that, because they know what Kaizer Chiefs has been doing. Not to say no, it's not going to be an important game. It is, but if Kaizer Chiefs can play their game that they've been playing, you know, the route one, of which Sundowns struggles again with the second post, I think Kaizer Chiefs will be able to get goals from that. But then if Sundowns play their game, they can be able to score goals too. But today's game, Sundowns, I think it's a game that they definitely need to win, because if they draw or lose the game, then they're out.
Yeah, I know for sure.
But I think, again, if I can just come in there, Kamu, if I can come in there, head-to-head, Arrows versus Sundowns. Arrows has won 5, Sundowns has won 12. So I think Sundowns actually will come out best in terms of this one.
Yeah.
And looking at it in terms of how Arrows plays as well, they play within more of a wing attack type of football. I think Sundowns have the capacity of doing that because they've got speedy players on the side, which is then Lakay will always give an overload on the side to help actually in terms of defense. So I think for Sundowns, they are well within their ranks to actually to come out tops on this one. Because by last year, if you look at it, Sundowns by now they were 59 points, but this year they are 47 points already. So then it says something in terms of their consistency as well, and also players. And again, we'll go back in terms of what is it now for Sundowns? Sundowns having more matches in their belts, more than other teams, or rotation of the team. And I think today's match is going to prove that in terms of Sundowns, how best are they prepared for the next game that is coming. But I see them going through with Arrows, with Chiefs also as well. They might do far better than them because Chiefs are already, they're always late, second balls as well. They can't deal with second ball. They're not playing the free-flowing football that we know of. So it's a little bit of a good match, and both teams are challenged in terms when it comes to the defensive organization.
No, for sure. That's the battle at the top of the table. Before we leave, I just want to focus a little bit on what's happening at the bottom of the table, Schwabe. And I don't know, as a player, were you as financially motivated as we're hearing that the Black Leopards players are? 10 grand a game, 10 grand a win. Have you ever been in that situation? And then how much did you cash out with, if you were?
No. So she can concur with me here because me and him were actually the last time I had that problem that we're talking about now. We were handsomely paid. So see, how much were we paid now again? Just remind me.
I think it's 20 grand a match, bro.
How much?
20 grand a match.
20 grand a match. Heck.
Yeah.
Look, to be honest,
No
I think,
tax.
I think I left home myself. We left home with bags of money. I think it could have been maybe a 50 or 60,000 rand cash.
Hey.
Because we won like what, Sosi, maybe 2-3, and we drew and we survived and all those things.
Yeah.
So if you had to accumulate it all, I think it was So
you're saying it's a stroke of genius that they've kind of dangled that carrot as far as management.
Yes. Just the unfortunate part is that carrot is never dangled at the beginning of the season. They always wait till the end of the season.
Yeah, that's what always got us upset. What always got us upset. But we went handsomely welcome, I must say. I think that's the only time where you know that at least I've got something to buy for Christmas. I can go home and show them that I'm really playing football. This is the money that you show to your parents. Money that people have not seen before. You're like, 60 grand. They're like, what? Is that how much you get paid? But to some of the players, that was like their whole salary for the whole year.
Right. Right. That's
So it was it's nail biting, and the unfortunate part at times is you're very unlucky. Like you look at the Leopards game with Arrows, and you look at the penalties and the officiating now. So you're not, and that's another thing about this whole week of the football. The officiating wasn't up to scratch. I mean, you're looking at Makola's second yellow card. The referee knows the dynamics of the game, and he knows, the first one was a caution, and then the second one, you're like, okay, you know what? I don't want to give you the red card, but I'm going to. It's the 34th minute. Let's have a fair game. And then you have that penalty that he wants to give against Nodada, and then the penalties that was given with the Arrows and Leopards game. And then you ask yourself, what's going on now? Is there some hidden agendas?
Someone with conspiracy theories.
No, I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Okay.
So I always look at you always look at all options. But look, for me, as I see Amazulu's leading now 1-0 going into halftime. I was gonna say Amazulu relegated and Baroka playoffs because of Baroka's fixtures that they still have to play. So that is why I would have said Baroka playoffs, Amazulu going down, because like I said
No.
What?
I'm from Devon, bro. Don't say that.
Look, I'm only looking at but look here, you got a lifeline now because Amazulu's leading 1-0.
No, they're not.
It's halftime.
1-1. It's 1-1.
Oh, there we go. It's 1-1 now again.
It's 1-1
I was still trying to make you feel a bit happy now, Susie.
Sorry, Susie. Motabeng in the 41st minute. It was actually Major who got on the score sheet.
Yeah, in the
Got
sixth
on the
minute.
Yeah, in the 6th minute. So they've equalized them, Celtic. So yeah, you're right. In terms of Amazulu, I'm sorry, Sosi, but it's not looking good considering they've lost their coach. They're not
They're not creating goals.
exactly. If they get
I
out
think
of this one with 3 points, maybe.
Mm.
But it's
I
not.
don't see them as well. I'm sorry, but I have to be honest. I like my team there from Durban. I don't see them actually coming up because if you look at it, there's only one player that have scored many goals, which is Dooley, and they are relying on one player for them to get like results. And as things get more rusty and rusty now, their hopes are actually dropping at this particular point because you look at it, most teams are actually picking up points. See how actually Leopard is moving up the blocks as well. Baroka also trying, but also with Polokwane City as well. I don't see them actually. I see them going down like automatically because you look at their shaky defense. All their goals are being scored. You get your centre backs being caught square, weak on crosses, not being able to deal with the wing play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that now, if we're really going to, now as it's going to the wire, it's more important now for the other teams that are at the bottom to stay tight. But now it's difficult for them because if you look at the matches that they're going to be playing, it's teams that are fighting for something. It's either top 8, some are fighting for the league.
But so who did you say is going down? You should leave Polokwane. You and Shahid. Please don't.
Yeah,
No, you did not say Polokwane. There's someone who actually said Polokwane is going down.
No. No one.
Huh?
No one.
No.
I'm saying
I said
Amazulu
Polokwane is
going
going down.
down.
Oh,
Baroka
Eddie's saying
playoffs.
Polokwane is
No.
going.
I said Polokwane is going down, and you guys said no. So
No.
please.
Are you saying straight down or playoffs?
Straight down.
I'm saying straight down.
No, I disagree, Eddie. I disagree. Polokwane,
I'm the one that
Polokwane
said
is going straight
Polokwane is
down.
going down.
He's
I'm
saying
the one
Yeah,
that
you
I
had your hand
disagree.
up, Eddie, but you're not decisive. I say
No. I said Polokwane is going down, and then you
play
said no.
off
Polokwane will never
straight
go
down.
down.
they can't
No,
all go
straight down. Polokwane is going straight down.
Only one club can go straight down. So Eddie
Yeah.
reckons it's Polokwane and Schwabe, and Sosi, you're saying that it's
Amazulu.
Amazulu that's going to get the automatic drop. Even though if the match result stays as it is, they get 1 point, they go above Polokwane City, you still think that it's going to be Amazulu that go down, Jets.
Yeah, Amazulu are going down, shame. I don't want to lie to them. I don't think they've done the homework. They are going down. I think it has proven to us that even last year they finished 11th. It should tell you something. Were they able to actually to learn from their mistake? No, they didn't learn anything from their mistake because they find themselves into the position that they're in today is because they failed to learn. So now them going down every time, what are they going to be doing? Buying franchises all the time. They have so much money to buy a new club than to actually to put infrastructures that are going
Into
to
the
help
club.
them to consolidate.
No, but you see that is the biggest problem. They up and down, but they have so good support and so much financial support as well. They're a good run club. So where's the problem? See, for me, it has to be administration. It has to be the administration.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That
I
one I
think
would
they'll be
definitely
they'll be dodging a bullet if they do avoid the drop. But like you say, Shwabe, something has to change as far as the culture at the club, as far as making sure that we're not always in some crazy battle for our lives every season.
Exactly.
No, exactly. Okay, well, that's
Well,
them.
Eddie, disclaimer, boy. I didn't hear you properly. I think you got that one spot on, as Ace would say. So you got this one, Baba. Don't worry. We apologize.
But remember, it's not the only one. Remember also the game, Sundowns versus Cape Town City.
Oh,
remember,
my God.
you and Shoaib, remember?
Yeah, no. You got it right this time. I wonder what
Thank
happened. Maybe you had breakfast and lunch and all those predictions were spot on, Baba. No, I credit you.
Thank you very much.
And then, guys,
No,
what
I'm
do
an
we make very
honest guy.
quickly
I'm an honest guy.
of Baroka's plight? Because Mamelodi Sundowns, Super Sports United, Kaizer Chiefs, they're still in the mix. Those are their 3 last games, Baroka. So, I mean, it's they have the most unenviable of the run-ins. do you think that they can get through that one and finish in a playoff relegation spot or avoid the drop, considering those 3 fixtures?
Look, for me, it's going to be tough because all 3 of those teams are capable of creating a lot of chances against him. And the unfortunate part is they're leaking goals. And it's poor defending. It's not like it's unlucky or it was brilliant play from the opposition.
Right.
I mean, one straight ball and you 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. And sometimes you got to feel for Chipazizi at times. So if they can get it a bit tighter at the back, they do create. And I like the way they play. They're confident in their passing. They move the ball around nicely and they create chances. So it's just about keeping it tight at the back. Like you said, comes out
like they have the best goal difference out of the bottom 4. They're on -6. Black Leopards have conceded 39. Polokwane City have conceded 38 rather. And Baroka only 23. But I think maybe up front is a problem because they've only scored 16 goals, and that might be the root of it all.
Yeah. So, but for me, is they're creating. So, and also like you were saying, Kamza, at the end of the day, there's no big team and no small team. So Baroka could beat Sundowns, they could beat Chiefs, and they could beat SuperSport. So for me now, it's all up to them.
I disagree there.
Yeah?
I don't think so.
Me too.
It always happens.
Yeah, I think
Players break their game against those.
There's no big teams anymore. That is
No,
it.
let's not buy the bubble.
Shoaib, no, listen. I think the only team that Baroka are going to lose to, it could be SuperSport. But no, trust me, they'll get points from Chiefs and Sundowns.
Never.
It can't happen.
Never.
Kelvin, you know our players suffer from that syndrome. Big team, big performance.
Yeah.
Big team.
You should know that better, Kelvin.
You should know
Yes,
that right now.
I do. But gentlemen,
On which side, Eddie? On which side? On the receiving end or on the giving side? When he was playing for the small team, or when he was actually getting it from when he was playing for the big team, which side now? You saying he should know? Explain which side.
No. I'm just no. I mean, we talking about now things, right? We're not talking about before. We're not talking about before the bubble. We're talking about now. The current that is right now. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Sundowns, Kaizer Chiefs, Baroka are going to collect points there.
Never.
They're definitely going to collect points there.
Okay.
Never. The reason why I'm saying that is that Baroka is not capable of doing that. As now, Kamza just gave us the stats. It does not prove so. If we find a team that is leaking like that, even though Chiefs is sleeping like that, is not scoring goals, this is the right time.
No, but they're not the leakiest. They're not the leakiest.
Yeah,
they're not the leakiest. Out of the bottom, they're not the leakiest. They just don't score.
They just don't exactly.
Campaign.
So what are we hoping here for a draw? I doubt those teams
Could be a draw.
Could be a draw. Could be a draw. Or the 1-2 times that they score in the bubble again could be now in these games. Who knows? But I always forget that the players kind of find that other gear when it comes to playing Chiefs, Pirates, and Sundowns. And perhaps, SuperSport, even though Eddie thinks that you reckon SuperSport will get 4 points against Baroka.
Definitely, yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
This one, Baba, you got it wrong this time. This time I'm on your neck. You're not getting through on this one. Never, Baba. This one you're not going through with it.
Okay, gents. All those things considered, as we end off the show, I want to get your predictions for the big one, because it is a big one. I know, obviously, you would have loved to see how Sundowns do today against Arrows to kind of help your decision, but because we don't have that luxury, I want to know how do you see that one panning out between Mamelodi Sundowns and Kaizer Chiefs, essentially the battle for the title. I'm going to start with you, Eddie, then we're going to go Kelvin, and then Shoaib, and then we'll get the predictions. So your prediction, Eddie. How do you
Sundowns will win. Sundowns will definitely beat Chiefs 2-0.
Definitely. Okay.
Yes.
You're very assured. Shoaib?
I'm going to go with a draw.
Gonna go with a draw.
Yeah.
Okay, a bubble draw. A bubblicious draw.
There we go.
Kelvin, what do you think?
I don't want to actually do my team. I grew up there, Chiefs to go through 2-1.
2-1 to Chiefs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you guys reckon that they're gonna carry on with the charge towards the title? It's gonna be interesting. I, as a neutral, I'm hoping for a bit of an upset, just so we have something that goes down to the wire. But I do, like Schwabe, see it as a draw. I think it'll be a draw, score draw maybe. Let's see. But yeah, gents, thank you so much. It's been great hanging out with you this Monday afternoon. I know that you had one eye on the football as it's happening as we're doing this podcast. Please do go and enjoy. It'll give us more to reflect on the next time we talk. But thank you so much for joining me. That's my panel made up of Kelvin Sosibo. I've got Eddie Dina on the line and Schwabe Walters. Gents, your opportunity to say goodbye to the listeners.
Cheerio.
Yes,
See you
thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in.
There it is. Thank you so much, gents. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll catch up in a week's time with hopefully all of you, if not some of you. But to you who's been tuned into the Front Runner Football Podcast, thank you yet again. Hope we've made it worth your while this 1 week sojourn into what's happening in South African football, with football coming at us thick and fast. For myself, Gumzambata, and the Front Runner team, until we meet again in a week's time, take care.